Well, hey, everyone. This is Heidi St. John. Welcome to the Heidi St. John podcast. I have a very special guest in the studio with me today. My friend Melissa Crabtree is here, and we're going to answer some listener questions and kibitz about life and talk about homeschooling and all kinds of fun things. If you guys need some encouragement today, this is the podcast for you. Stick around. I think you're going to be encouraged. So thank you guys for tuning in today. This is Mailbox Monday, and you guys know I love to answer your questions. If you'd like to have a question addressed here at the show, the way to do that is to go to HeidiSt.John.com/Mailbox Monday. I'm super happy to have Melissa in the studio with me. We see each other a lot more than we used to,
Yes, we do.
but not often in this environment. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. All right. So we get a lot of questions. This is Melissa's great idea. She has lots of great ideas. We get lots of questions from people who say, how can I bring Heidi to my neck of the woods? And we just got back from a couple of really great events, one in Montrose, Colorado, and one in Columbus. And you said it's just a really good example of how a homeschool mom can bring me to speak in their neck of the woods. And so I thought, let's talk about that for a little bit, because while our 2025 season is looking pretty full, it seems like it getting pretty booked up.
It is for the spring, for sure.
But if you guys are interested in bringing me out there or having, say, my women's conference, we're going to kind of walk you through how to do that.
Yeah. So there are different ways that you can do it. We have lots of people ask, I think they're overwhelmed right away when they think about how could I bring somebody like that, and they think they have to cover all the costs, or one person can't plan these, or all of those things. And I mean, ultimately it's better when you have some other planners to help and do it together. But there are several different ways you can do it. You can or several different ways that we can come. And one of the ways that was so remarkable about this weekend was this gal met us at the homeschool conference, and she said, I want to bring you to my small town. How do I do this? And that was in, I think, June. And by July, she had her sponsors, or August, I guess, early August, she had gone out and spoken with local business people in her town.
Smart.
Yes.
Really
and
smart.
she got the entire event sponsored. And so all of the costs that were covered, there's typically an honorarium, then there are flights that need to be covered, hotel and transportation. And we know what those are. So she emailed me. I sent her some information about who is Heidi St. John, because when people are looking for a venue, which often that would be a host church, the church wants to know who you are, because they might not have heard of you before, or they want to be able to vet you, which they should be doing to guard their flock and a good use of their, steward their facilities.
Yeah, well,
and
that's
their
a
resources.
platform, and so we actually welcome that when a church says we really want to know who Heidi St. John is. Well, we want them to know also, because I wouldn't have somebody come here to Firmly Planted and give them a platform if I didn't trust the message that they were going to give. So that's a healthy thing to do.
Yeah. So we have a couple of documents that tell you, or tell the pastoral staff who Heidi is. There's some recommendations in there. There's some different talks that Heidi does, which of course those can, Heidi, sometimes we'll do a talk that she's already done, but she'll always tweak it to match the audience that is coming, and the planner, the committee or the planning people for the event. The people who are planning the event. So we'll send you the information, and then we'll talk back and forth. We're really flexible on a lot of those things. There are a lot of factors that go into planning those things, but all of them, we can talk through all of them. And of course, the calendar, that's usually the most difficult part of it, and then finding a venue.
Yeah. So right now, if people are interested in having me come and speak, most of my spring is already full. So we'd be looking at probably fall of next year and then into 2026.
Yes. Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah. We have a little bit, the other thing we've learned is in the winter, we can go to California, Texas, Florida.
We're probably not going to go to Wisconsin.
But we're pretty careful about where we fly.
Only because we got stuck.
Right. Because then we, as a team, we're actually trying to get through. It was in New Jersey quite a few years ago. I was trying to get to New Jersey from Texas. You actually did get there from New Jersey. I mean, from here.
I ended up getting stuck in New York City.
Yeah.
Then there was a bomb cyclone that came through New York City, and so couldn't get out of JFK. So we ended up spending the night, and it is. I'm not gonna lie. The air hurts your face there. It's cold.
So we've learned some of those things and we know where, but if you're in a warm place and we can fly only through warm cities, then that's something that we could plan in the winter. Yeah, so I think that's a little bit of the process. You email us, we send you back some information. And so don't hesitate. You could email either at info. We have a speaker request form, which actually is one of the best places to start. You can go on the website under the speaking tab. We have a speaker request form. You fill that out. That gives us some information and we refer back to that through the entire conversation. Asks the questions we need to know, asks you the questions that you need to start working on also. And then the other way, so that would just be if you wanted to have an event and have Heidi come speak for an event that you wanted to plan, you would set the topic or discuss it with us, and then, we could brainstorm together. And then the other way is that you have the Shine Conference, which is 4 or 5 sessions. We can bring the music, or you can provide some music with a local worship band that if you wanted to do that. And that's more of a conference in a box. We help with the lunch planning. We help with lots of the planning for
and
that.
all of the graphics and everything for that's already done.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that makes the Shine Conference really great for you just to sort of, I love that you called it a conference in a box because all that stuff is already done for you in advance. And so the graphics and, we already know what the topics will be. And it's just a really great, like all the swag and everything. We bring all of that with us. And so it really is an easy thing to bring to your church. And we can do that one in a day.
Yeah, and that we can arrange different ways where you have the financial responsibility and sell tickets and then you get all reimbursed, or we cover some of the financial responsibility and then we carry the tickets. So there are different ways, again, just pointing out that it's flexible and your location, the areas where you'll pull people for the event. Those are all different things that we can talk
let's
about.
Say if you're in Hawaii, we might come for free. I'm just kidding.
We are trying to get some in Hawaii.
We actually are trying to get some in Hawaii, yeah.
Right,
We're going to do a little island hopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, so those are a couple of the different ways you can do it. But one of the things that was really great about this weekend was she just took the initiative. She knew that's what the Lord wanted her to do, was plan this event. She grabbed a couple of friends. She went and started talking to businesses in the community, and the entire event was sponsored.
Thank you,
and
Lacey.
she just did a really great job with that. She took the bull by the horns, asked the Lord to provide for it because she felt like it was what he wanted her to do, and she got it done. And she had some people tell her no, and other people, they covered that. So it was really, but she wasn't afraid to go ask for those things. There are a lot of businesses that are looking for write-offs, or they're willing to help provide for things in the community because it matters. And so it was just a lot of people, I think, they think right away that it has to be a church that hosts a large event or things like that. But there are a lot of individuals who can get something done.
Yeah, absolutely true. And you can work, obviously. You can work with your local church. But we've done events at hotels and all kinds of things. So we hope that this is helpful for you because we do get a lot of questions about that out on the road. And really, I love to travel and speak, and it's just a tremendous honor and opportunity to come and just love on you guys and give you a little bit of encouragement from the Word of God. And hopefully people, I think this is true around, across the board. I think they leave really feeling encouraged and inspired and lots of information. We bring our own merchandise with us, so we'll bring our book table, and we're trying to figure out a better way to do that. So someone doesn't break their back with all the books. It's no joke, but we love to do that. And I'm particularly interested in bringing the Shine Conference and doing more of that because I think the message really is good for right now, that God calls us to shine. And it's a good reminder for all of us that no matter what happens, I mean, obviously I'm doing everything I can from the platform God's given me to help you guys engage in the elections and not to sit this thing out. But even if, the people that we are hoping win the seats don't win the seats, guess what? Our job doesn't change. Yeah. And what God asks us to do doesn't change. He wants us to be ambassadors. He wants us to shine for him in every aspect of the culture. And so that's really the theme behind the Shine Conference. What does it mean to shine for the Lord, so that you do let your light so shine before man that they would see what you're doing and give glory to God. And that's really what the Shine Conference is about. So if you guys are interested in that, we would love to hear from you. We're really trying to get the second half of 2740,000. What year is it?
2025.
2025.
Well, I mean, it's 2024, but
yeah,
we're talking
trying
about
to get
2025.
Yeah, we're trying to get the second half of 2025 filled up. That's a weird year. I don't know why I'm having a hard time with it. 2025, like 2022 sounded 23, 24, but 25, I can't really wrap my head. I don't know why I'm having a hard time. But better hurry up, though, because we're getting to the end of 24.
Quickly.
Take a deep
Crazy.
breath. I know. I feel like life's moving along at a pretty fast clip. So there's lots of ways that you guys can engage with the ministry here, and we'd love to see you do that even more in the year to come. Another thing that's really obvious that I don't talk about a lot, and I probably should talk about it more, is the women's Bible study that we do here, which is Faith That Speaks. And the whole point of that is to encourage you. And these are also talks that I do around the country. In fact, I just did it in Columbus. Why should your faith be a faith that speaks? The Bible says in Psalm 107, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. God wants you to be intimately involved in the work that he's doing. He has something he wants you to do. So every month we release a Bible study and we teach through it. I teach on Tuesdays, and Melissa's worked really hard at getting me consistent.
We've been really good at that.
We've been really good at it this year.
And we record that so that the recording is always available for anybody who was a member during that time. So.
And how they do that? They just sign up at Faith That Speaks.
Yep, faiththatspeaks.com, and we tell you all about it. We tell you how much it costs, what's a part of that, where to find everything, and then we have a Facebook group, but we also have we have on the website a spot where you can ask questions there if you're not on Facebook.
Yep.
Our recording is on Zoom, and we make that available for you for the life of your membership, anything that
Lots
was
of
published
really,
during your membership.
I think my original vision for this was that the studies would be written kind of in real time to respond to what was happening in the culture. So it's those studies, we're addressing things that are happening from a biblical worldview in real time. And so it's not uncommon to read, in one of those studies, something that's happening in the news or something that everyone is talking about in the church. And the reason for that is just a touch point of us being able to disciple women in real time. So there's also Kids Strong, which it's part of the study. And so for those of you who have young children at home, it just allows you to take what I'm teaching in the bulk of the study for women, and then also reference it. So you can teach your kids. You can bring your kids along with you. So never been a more important time, I don't think, to be in the Word than is right now. We're doing prayer right now every day, every weekday. Yes. At 8 a.m. And how do they get signed up for that?
So you go and subscribe. Go to HeidiSt.John.com. There's a subscribe button on the top right corner. And as a part of that process, as soon as you confirm, you get sent to the confirmation page. We have a prayer guide there for the next 4 or 5 weeks that goes through the election.
Yep, through the election.
We have some phone screens there. You get one of your talks. Biblical Discernment is a talk, a digital an audio, one of Heidi's workshops that you get for free. And the first couple chapters of Daylight. I had to remember what that book was called.
Yeah, that's right.
So we have some freebies there on that page available for you. But the Zoom link for the everyday meeting and then the prayer guide are on that page as a part of your confirmation process.
So which page? So
you go to HeidiSt.John.com and subscribe. As a part of that confirmation process, you land on that page. So it's not a page that is available. It's only for subscribers. So you need to subscribe to the email or to the newsletter. And if you are already a subscriber, check your spam inbox. So check blog. You're going to search for blog at HeidiSt.John.com. And through the congressional run, we had a lot of trouble with all of our stuff going into spam because that's what somebody, when you're working against a candidate, that's one of the things that they will do is they'll just put everything that you're sending in spam. So we're kind of working out of the gutter on that. So go search your spam to see if you're subscribed and then mark not spam. That helps us.
Yeah.
And if you need to, just go resubscribe. And, so they'll work you through that. If you go subscribe, if you're not sure, just go to HeidiSt.John.com, click on subscribe, and you'll get worked through the process.
Yeah, I love that. And we're really going to be putting a concerted effort into growing that list and communicating with you more in the months to come that way. So become a subscriber. That's a great way to do it. Also, continue, guys. We love getting questions from you here at Mailbox Monday. And just it's an opportunity every week for me to connect with listeners in real time. And as you guys know, you've been kicking around with me long enough. There really isn't a topic I'm not willing to jump into. Well, there is. There are a few. There are a few. There have been a couple, and I'm like, not doing that one. But as a general rule, I like the deep water questions. I feel like, A, it's not boring. And B, I think that these are real issues that people are talking about, and we want to be talking. We want to be able to have conversation and listen for the Lord and see what His Word says. So really, we love, and also those questions that go to either my friend Phil Hopper, who's the pastor at Abundant Life out of Lee Summit, Missouri, and then questions for Dr. Mark. And so those are things we're trying to do more regularly. We're going to be shifting, hopefully pretty soon, the podcast format because the new studio is getting really close. We're getting so close, aren't we, Skylar? So close.
So exciting.
It's very exciting. I can't wait to show you. I feel like Skylar's in here today helping us engineering the show, and I kind of feel like we should get some little little reels that we can do. You guys can see some of the stuff that's going up on the walls. It's really cool in there. Right, Skylar?
Skylar's like, stop talking, move on.
So great. So great. Anyway, we're excited. We're going to start having people come out here in person. And so you're going to see a lot more in-person interviews. I really love the conversational style of interviewing. I think you see more from a guest when we interview that way. So we're really looking forward to doing that. Another thing that Liz and I have been doing together for a long time now, I was trying to think how many years.
I think 7.
Is Young Living.
Yes. I was in Texas, so 7 years.
Yeah. So I keep track of my life by pregnancies, and you keep track of your life by where you live.
Which house did I live in when that happened?
Which house was I living in? But I really, for me, in fact, I'm looking at all of these essential oils I have sitting right across from me on my desk. Essential oils for me were a huge part of my healing journey, just finding healing for, my emotions, healing for my physical body. And I got interested in it years and years ago. And now I don't think we go anywhere without them.
No.
And eventually, because we weren't doing Young Living, you were the one who kind of introduced me to essential oils long before I think we started doing Young Living. But then we found Young Living, really loved the quality of the product. If you're going to put something on your body or in your body, you really should know what it is. And if there was ever a time for us to know what we're putting in and on our bodies, now's the time, especially when we see how many things out there are really not good and they're marketed as good.
Well, because once you learn what's soaking into your skin, your bathroom cleaner is also soaking into your skin.
Yeah.
So that's why it matters.
Yeah.
Is that it's not just the good stuff we're talking about. It's you want to stop doing
it's so true.
the garbage stuff as much as possible.
And we didn't grow up thinking about that. At least I didn't.
Well, and I think stuff wasn't as bad. One of the common the questions we're always asking is just because we can, does that mean we should?
Yeah.
And no is the answer lots of times.
Yeah. I think Liz and I were flying home from wherever we were the other day. Columbus, I think. And I was talking about an image that I'd seen come through my Instagram feed, and it was a mom saying, I hear you telling me that you survived. Why is it so different now? And so she put the labels up, like what Gatorade used to be and what it is now, and what used to be in our cereals and what is in them now. We're living really in an incredible time in terms of what is allowed in our food supply.
And what the U.S. allows and what the EU does not allow.
Yeah, it's
really
shocking.
Is very, very different. Yeah.
It's really shocking. I'm very hopeful that RFK gets a shot at exposing a lot of this stuff. And I love his Make America Healthy Again campaign. I'm a super fan of what they're doing. But so Lisa kind of introduced me to essential oils, and I was like, what is this hocus pocus, mumbo jumbo, and how does it work? And I eventually introduced Jay, my husband, to it, and he became a super fan because he had such great success with some of the the basic oils like Digest. That's his favorite one. I don't think it goes anywhere without it. Like, if you ever have a tummy ache, that's the first thing.
It's every time I use it, I'm like, I can't believe this works so fast.
It does.
Every time.
It's amazing.
I have that one with me all the time.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we've taught several podcasts over the years talking about essential oils, and we'll probably do it again here pretty quick, I would think, because this is the season.
Yeah.
But if people want to get a head start on just getting healthy and not, succumbing to every flu virus and every, cold virus that we all come in contact with in the winter months, it's a great place to start.
Yeah. So you just go to thebusymom.com/oils, and we have a page there that explains the starter kit, the best way to get. You can just go buy a couple of products.
Sure.
But the starter kit it helps you really replace your medicine chest. And it has everything that comes in it is for belly and breathing, sleep, pain, skin, air freshener, some allergy stuff. So there are just different oils in there for all those things. And they really, you really can, generally replace your medicine cabinet. And the best part, I was actually thinking about this just the other day, there are things that I didn't. So I've had a long-term corn allergy, and my body used to be so much more reactive. And one of the accidental things where my body has just healed over the years, I'm so much less reactive. Now I can go to East Tennessee and I have zero allergy response. There are foods that I can consume that my reaction used to be much, much worse, or would go on for several days. Whereas now, if I have it, it's a smaller reaction. There are other it's all connected to inflammation.
Yeah.
And every time you're using an oil on your body, it's doing so much more than just helping your belly or just helping your skin, because it soaks into your cells. So at that cellular level, it's cleaning out the garbage. Every time any essential oil that you use that's a high quality one, which I would say Young Living definitely is.
Don't get your essential oils from Walmart.
Yeah, I used other brands, and I actually didn't expect Young Living to be different. And I really was surprised when that happened. So every time you're using it on your body, it's doing so much more than you realize. And there's a lot of science behind that. But what I have seen is it's true. And I know that from my own body. There are just things that I didn't intend to fix that are so much different than that. Arthritis, they told me I would have forever. I don't have that anymore. There, my allergies are almost gone. And those aren't specific things that I've targeted. It's just that the more I use essential oils, and also in the things that we're learning in the oil community, is everybody's talking about different ways to be healthy.
It's
so
interesting.
It's not only oils solve everything, but you're also learning what else helps reduce inflammation.
Well, it's about the root
cause.
causes. And it's what we keep talking about, over and over and over again at the show. It's about root causes. I feel like, big pharma, everybody's hacking at the branches and nobody's getting to the root. And this really does help get to the root. And and like Lisa said, we're not saying that, essential oils cure everything, but it really is a good part of a arsenal for staying healthy and helping your body heal itself.
Right.
And it's been hugely beneficial in our family. And it's little things too. Like we were traveling this weekend or last weekend, and I burned myself like I do routinely for whatever reason with my straight iron. Just a moment of silence for why I keep doing that. I don't know. But I burned my finger really good. And my first thought was, I need lavender, and I hadn't brought it, but we did have peppermint.
Yep. And
it's amazing. It takes the burn out. It's just kind of amazing.
Well, and it's those things that happen, or if you have a runny or a stuffy nose, like you don't actually have to have that, and you don't have to take Dayquil. You can actually just use an oil and then feel better. And then,
it's true.
If your back is hurting, you don't have to take ibuprofen. You can actually put an oil, and many times it will help if you have a muscle spasm, and it's not the kind of stuff that you would necessarily go to the doctor for. But why have all those aches and pains, or just different areas of discomfort? You don't have to. Turn on something good to make your office smell better and your house smell better instead of spraying Febreze.
Yeah, instead of Febreze or the Glade plugins and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. So it's just, even if you're not sure right away what you want to fix. Almost everybody loves lavender in their home. They start sleeping better and things like that. So there's just, it's just a great addition to, I think, any lifestyle. But the more expensive medical care gets, the more we learned during COVID, the more you know about your own body, for your own family, your own self. There are just so many things that you can do to help yourself.
Yeah.
You're just more empowered when you can take care of yourself, and then you spend less money going to the doctor. And if your throat starts to hurt, use an oil that helps with immunity and helps fight germs, and then maybe you don't ever have to go find out if you have strep, because you could take care of it.
Yeah.
So it's just we spend
it's
so much less time in the doctor then.
Yeah, I think which thank goodness, because it is expensive to go to the doctor. It's no joke. And I think too, trying to get away from things like ibuprofen as much as you can. And we realize, as we're getting older, how bad this stuff really is for you. And in some ways, this was to me, it was just an opportunity to get to know how my body worked, and that there were other things, because I grew up in my mom was in medicine, traditional Western medicine. And And I'm not down on Western medicine either. I just think, wow, there's got to be, there are other approaches and we should look at all of them. And so that's what we do. We do that at thebusymom.com/oils. And there's a great group of like support. It gets busier this time of year.
I think they have new holiday products out.
Yeah.
And, but there are a lot of Facebook groups for resources. There are different various leaders where you can sign up and get some text alerts once a week, or you can choose not to do that. We want to empower you to learn about it because we're not diagnosing or treating. That's pretty important.
Yeah.
We have lots of our own experiences that we can share and quite a few literally life-changing stories. But it's just neat to be around a whole bunch of people who are also thinking about how can I take care of my family in the most independent way possible? How can I help us from the bottom up? And just have a tool right there, and then you're teaching your kids, like you're teaching them that broccoli is healthy for them. There are other ways to teach them to be healthy. And then they take that. My 22-year-old son regularly texts me and says, hey, my friend Justin wants to know about this. What's the best oil for this? So it's just it's a lifestyle. It's learning to live healthy from the inside out.
Yeah. I think it's become so popular in homeschool circles because the homeschoolers were like, they were like, that was the education hack.
Yeah.
The homeschoolers were like, oh, hey, my kid doesn't have to be gone from me, 8-9 hours a day. And, I can have my kids home. And I remember just, it kind of breaks your brain when you first start thinking about it. I feel like this is a similar thing and just learning how to eat healthier and just, so it's not just what we're doing over there isn't just about oils. It's about healthy living and sharing stories and encouraging it. So guys, check it out at thebusymom.com/oils and you can get more information and sign up there, right? Is that right?
Yep, that is
You
right.
hesitated.
No, I was. You know how when you feed a baby, you open your mouth as you stick the spoon in their mouth? So as you were talking, I was thinking exactly what you were saying. You did a great job.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, we have a question, a Mailbox Monday question.
Okay.
I'm gonna launch it your direction because I think this is a great question. Annie in Tennessee. So last week, Lisa hasn't been here for a few weeks because your dad went home to be with the Lord, and so you've been gone, and so you maybe didn't hear this particular podcast, but a mom had written in and asked me about, we started talking about homeschooling and sort of things that have worked for me. And I said that for the younger kids, I really liked Abeka. I love, you guys, I'm serious. I love phonics. I just think it works. It's great.
Sense.
It makes sense. And I liked Abeka's phonics program. So I said I liked it I didn't do it for kindergarten, but I did like first through third grade. All my kids went through an Abeka program. So she says, she's responding to that. So there's a little context for you.
Okay.
This is Annie in Tennessee. Hey, Annie girl. She said she has a boy who just turned 3. So he's a little one. He loves to be read to. He loves puzzles, counting, reciting his alphabet, and now he's trying to spell things. It's like a savant, like a 3-year-old savant. He's trying to spell things, a little smarty. This has mostly been his own learning. I want to buy him Abeka Phonics because I saw that you recommended it on the show. When should I start this with him? I know he's young, but he's very into learning. I see all sorts of phonics curriculum like K3, K4. Where do I start? Thank you for all that you do. So, I have an opinion. What do you say?
So I also have an opinion. I had a 3-year-old early reader who at 7 months, as soon as he could crawl, his activity of choice was the book basket. And he spent his whole life at the book basket as early as possible. And to this day, he loves to read. So what I believe you might find, if I were doing it again, and this is how I did it, you could start a phonics program at that point, but what I think you're going to find is he's going to continue to learn on his own. He's clearly absorbing all of the information from the world that you're exposing him to. So personally, with one like that, I actually wouldn't start a phonics program because his brain is picking up I hate to use the word ahead because he's doing exactly what God created his brain to do at that age. I think a phonics program is going to involve things like a pencil that he is not prepared for at 3 years old. He's not prepared to sit down and have a direct instruction model. Because little 3-year-old boys or girls mostly aren't really prepared for that. So even if his brain might be ready to absorb the information that a phonics program could present, his social emotional level in the good way, not social emotional learning, but actual social emotional, intelligence and age. And that's something that we measure when we're doing early childhood assessments and that kind of stuff. He's really not prepared for a sort of formal learning environment. And he clearly, what he's showing you is he doesn't need that, because it sounds like you haven't done
He's
that
already
yet.
picking it up.
Keep reading to him,
Yeah.
exposing him. The more you read, the other thing is a phonics program like that probably is going to go much slower than he would actually require. And
so when he's ready, with his fine motor skills, he's ready to pick up a pencil, all those kinds of things, he's going to be ready for you to actually just jump in.
Yeah.
And truly, I love Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons.
And that's what I was going to say. It's kind of, so my kiddo learned, he basically taught himself to read. I mean, I was surprised. We were shopping one day and the Oshkosh employee told me that he knew his letters because he was jumping on the rug on all the letters and saying them out loud. And I was like, he doesn't know his letters. She goes, yes, he does. Watch what he's doing. So it sounds like yours is a little bit like that. And just continue to expose him to stuff. I had one kiddo, that one in particular, who never in his life did we do a spelling lesson. Like, he graduated. We didn't do one spelling lesson. We read through Teach Them.
Is he a visual learner?
He is. He's a visual learner.
This is my belief. If you have a child who's a really good speller, 99% of them are visual learners. And they're good spellers because they saw the word. That's why reading is so powerful. They saw the word and they just remembered how to spell it.
Yeah. And so I would say just keep doing what you're doing. And just keep reading to him. And if you feel like at some point you need some organized fashion, I think Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons, because that doesn't require a pencil. They're short lessons, like 10 minutes a day, and they go through cute little stories. And so with a 3-year-old, and I would say that really through probably any through 6.
Did you ever do Enchanted Learning with your kids? Did you ever go to enchantedlearning.com?
I did a very little bit. I printed off some worksheets when they got a little bit older.
I haven't looked at that in a while.
It's been a long, I haven't, my youngest now is 18, so it's been a very long time. But I pulled in some, if I wanted something about owls.
Check and see.
I
probably should, maybe I should ask Skylar if enchantedlearning.com is still even working. I don't know if you can look it up on your computer, but because it's been a long time since I did it too. But I loved it. It was a little subscription service, but then like whatever, you could download like an alphabet book, so maybe a little tiny paper book of just the A's. And is it there, Skylar? Okay, so it is there. So enchantedlearning.com, check it out. There are maps, all kinds of fun things, little crafts for younger kids, all kinds of fun things. And we did that for years and years and years.
And it sounds like, too, with a little guy who's so interested in this sort of stuff and making a lot of these connections on his own, he's actually a perfect candidate. All kids, I think, are great candidates, but check out 5inarrow.com because it's kind of a roadmap for what to do with great quality literature. And when you're reading Make Way for Ducklings, which is a high quality story,
such a great
you're
book.
going to learn about ducks, and you're going to learn about maps, and you're going to learn about Boston when he's prepared to understand what another city named Boston is like. And so unit studies can be really great if you're wanting to add some sort of structure.
Yeah.
But I would really, really encourage you, hesitate.
At 3.
Just continue exposing him to all the life that you are already exposing him to, because it's very clear he is soaking up tons of information exactly with the life that you're living right now. And I would hesitate to structure it. Yeah,
I could not agree with that more. Also, I would encourage you, make the most of the time that you have right now by making memories with your son. You can be making cookies together. You could be, getting out the rice table. There's just so many things to do.
Field trips. Go as many places as you can.
For goodness sake. I look back and I've said many times on the show here in the last couple of years, and, Melissa and I have this conversation a lot. It really does go by fast, and you don't get a do-over. And I think in some ways, bringing that structure into your home, it changes the season that you're in. You're going to move into a different season, and there's going to be a lot of years for you to sit down and do formal education with him and all that kind of thing. And you don't have to do that right now. Like, I get that it's exciting.
Right.
Especially
with the first.
Because
sometimes we want to do 100%. That because we like doing it.
Yeah. But I think the wisdom of just having done it now and been there and on the other side, and I think Lissa's right. Like, I would just encourage you, just love spending time with your son. Do the things, make the brownies,
Yep. Get good games. Have high quality toys. Limit the screen time. Really,
Come on.
I would encourage you, do not
Limit
fall
the
prey to this
screen
app that will
time.
teach him about the alphabet. He's learning the alphabet from the books you're reading.
Come on.
So I wouldn't. And if all your friends are starting preschool and you're feeling the need to, just keep reading good books. That really is the best. The life that you're living is the best kind of preschool you can continue to do.
Boy, there's and I'm going to have a gal on my show here in the next week or so talking about screen time. There's a really great program that I was introduced to at the HSLDA Leaders Summit several weeks ago. And she has done the research that is really showing now how damaging it is when we are putting our kids in front of screens. There's so many toddlers. We see this all the time because Alyssa and I are always in airports. I mean, we're always seeing kids that are just absolutely glued to an iPad. We see it in the grocery store. Mom puts a kid, sits him down in a little seat in front of the cart, hands him an iPad, and the kid doesn't make eye contact with anybody. And yes, I mean, it's easier. It's like a babysitter,
right.
But you're hardwiring your kids' brains for that dopamine hit, which is what they're getting from the iPad, from the apps that our kids, and actually, I mean, social media, it's a conversation for another day, but I would just encourage, there's a lot of people listening to this right now, and you know who I'm talking to, if it's you, whose kids are on these devices all the time, and we're hurting our kids.
And they also need to learn how to be bored. They need to learn how to sit in the cart and just
that's Ginny's
not
big
have
thing.
constant
That's
input.
1,000 hours outside.
Their brain, we're robbing their brain of the opportunity to do what God created it to do, which is learn to entertain itself by looking and absorbing information every time we go to the grocery store.
Yeah. So if your kids come to you and you say, so Alyssa, if you're your kid, let's take you back years and years now, and your son comes to you and he tells you he's bored. What's your answer?
I said, if I need to find something to you, I'm happy to find a bathroom.
That's what I always tell my kids. Oh, you're bored?
So
I got
did
lots
not
of
come
chores.
to me very often saying they were bored. So
I got a bathroom. It seems like I can hear it calling your name. Oh yes, it is. That is exactly what it's doing. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you shouldn't be afraid of letting your kid just be bored.
Yeah.
If you're bored, oh, okay, find something to do. I don't know what to do. Well, figure it out.
Yep.
You gotta find something to do. So I love your heart though for your son and for homeschooling, and it just seems to me like you're having a great time being a mom. And being a mother is a wonderful thing. It's just such an adventure, and it really, really does go by fast. So soak it in. Did you already talked about 5 in a row? You did that?
yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and they can check that out at 5inarow.
5inarow.com.
5inarow.com.
Yeah. I should say, for full disclosure too, that when I was on long road trips, I turned on the movies for my kids.
Oh yeah.
So I think there's a time and a place for it, but the biggest thing is you want it to be a treat.
We're not talking about
Yeah.
letting your kids watch VeggieTales. Even if you did that once a day for half an hour,
Right.
I don't have a problem
There are
with
shows that can teach your kids
100%.
a lot of things.
What I'm talking about is, this is just a thing we do. We wake up in the morning, we have breakfast, here's your iPad.
Right.
That's what we want to get away from. That's what's hurting our kids. And I think the science is going to bear out that we really have injured our kids unwittingly. It's not like people mean to do it. It's just, that's just where we've landed, and it's sad.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And we also are super fans of 5 in a Row. You guys have heard me have Steve Lambert's been on here before, and his wife Jane wrote that curriculum. And I wasn't introduced really to it until it was kind of too late for me. But you raised your kids on it.
I did. And so perfect example here. My son was 3.5, 4, and I thought, well, he's learning all of these things. I should just be counting this as kindergarten. So we got a boxed curriculum and started counting it as kindergarten. And he was completely emotionally disconnected from everything we were learning, because even though he could read the words and sit through the book that we were reading, he had no concept of the abstract things that we were talking about. We were talking about 1,000 years ago. We were talking about something he hadn't actually ever seen before, and the history, and it made no sense to him. And we were checking the boxes, but it wasn't enjoyable. And so in very short order, somebody introduced us to 5inarow.com, and it literally set the trajectory for our entire homeschool career. And I would never change a day of it. We did our first, Owl Moon was our first one, and we learned, you have an emotional connection to what you're learning all of a sudden in this story that you're reading. And basically, we read library books to learn every single thing we possibly could until my kids were 11, 12, 13. I mean, it was, I'm so thankful for it. I'm so thankful that my sister-in-law, introduced me to it, and then, we went through it with Steve and Jane, but I would not trade it for a day.
Yeah, there's something, reading is so powerful, and not only is it a great way to educate your children, it's relationship building
Absolutely.
too. There's nothing that
You're
compares.
sitting on the couch and
yeah,
snuggling.
nothing compares to snuggle with your kid on a couch with a good book. And I told Melissa the other day, I mean, I'm down to just one at home now. I'm in the vortex of homeschooling. Alyssa got out of it because she had two kids.
I graduated in June from homeschool.
She graduated,
mommy.
yes. And had I stopped with 2, I would have graduated 15 years ago. But I'm still doing it, and I still really like reading with my daughter. There's just something really special. I'm looking forward to getting snowed in up there on Livingston Mountain and having a couple of days to just sit back with a cup of hot chocolate and just watch the snow fall and read some good books. And so actually we're working on a list right now of really good books. And as soon as we have it, we're going to put that out in an email. Another really good reason for you guys to subscribe to the email list.
Yes.
That will go out as soon as it is published. I really, really want to put together a list of phenomenal books that you can read to your kids from littles all the way up through high school, and just have reading become a part of the culture of your family, because it really is important. Okay, well, I got one last question.
Okay.
All right, and I have no idea what time it is.
Okay.
I have no idea how long we've been doing this because Skylar's not here.
Everybody can walk away if they don't want to.
You guys can walk away if you don't want to listen anymore. I got one. I thought this was really good. I was going to answer this one by myself, but I think it'd be fun to hear you hear what your question is. This is from Sarah in Oregon. So, hey, Sarah, thanks for writing in. She said, "Hey, Heidi, first off, thank you for loving Jesus and people so well and showing us how to get off the bench and onto the battlefield. You're welcome. I am a veteran homeschool mama who's actively teaching my kids civics and real American history. I want my sons to grow as not only godly leaders, but also as proud and active Americans. With that being said, my youngest son recently wore a MAGA hat to church." This is so great. Shortly after the service, my husband was approached by a church elder asking him to not allow our son to wear that again. And to double down, he said it causes divisiveness. What do we do? This is not a sin issue, and my son is only 11. How do we approach this with truth and love? So I already know what I'm going to say, but I will defer to you, Lissa.
Well, I'm even a little bit probably more old-fashioned in some. I wouldn't have my kid wearing a hat to church, so I'd probably say we're not wearing a hat to church, whether it's that or a fishing cap.
Well, maybe it's a T-shirt then.
But,
what happens if he wears the MAGA T-shirt to church and they get upset about that?
Right. I think
It's church, Lissa. They just chucked their First Amendment rights at the door.
Yeah, I don't. I think there are several different ways we can approach it. I think, yes, we have the freedom to wear that, to church. But I think also in the long run, we're supposed to also be watching for weaker brothers. So the first time, okay, wears that to church. If he chooses to persist in it, then you're looking at, why are we persisting? Are we trying to stir up trouble? And I'm not saying that young man was trying to stir up trouble.
He's not. He's 11.
I think the first time and the second time could be really different scenarios. Do we choose to take the high road? I don't actually like that. Do we choose to not stir up what we know might be difficult or challenging in church, or do we choose that? I don't know. I think
You're sort
I
of
think there are
seeing
several
it,
different thoughts that I have about it.
Yeah, me too. You're sort of seeing it as a poke the bear thing,
right? And I don't know that
do we really want to poke the bear at church? And I think that's that's certainly something that you should consider. I'm a little taken aback that we can't have conversations anymore,
right? And
I think that's my first, my response to the elder would be like, really, I mean, we're so afraid of differing opinions in our churches or differing points of view that we can't tolerate, for the people that wanted tolerance so much, that we can't tolerate somebody else coming to church with a political shirt on. I think it's concerning to me. I agree with Liz.
I agree with you on that part.
It's the heart behind it. If you're wearing that because that's going to hack off your, then that's, you better check your attitude and your heart with the Holy Spirit. But I also think, we got to stop being so afraid of engaging in conversation with people who may have different opinions than we do. I was just talking to Joe Kent was in here, and we were talking about the live action videos where they go out on the street and they say, how do you feel about abortion? And I'm, pro-choice. Well, have you ever seen an abortion? No. and all of this assumes that they're able to have these conversations, and you can watch people's mind change in real time when you just have a civil conversation and present the facts. And so, I think churches are a great place for us to have political discussions because 99.9% of the issues we're dealing with right now in our nation are moral at their root. They're biblical. They're not simply political. They're biblical issues. And so, to me, I think what you're saying is, I think, this is actually, both of these things are true at the same time. You need to check your heart, right? So if the heart was to poke the bear, then that's the wrong heart. But if you're just simply wearing a shirt because you would have wore it to Safeway that day, then I just don't. To me, I would be talking about that, I think, with the elder and saying, you know what, we should be allowed to have conversations in church.
Right. And ask.
We should have. Why can't we have those conversations? Right. And if people are so offended that they're going to, cry in their tea and go home all upset, well, then, I mean, that's another conversation also.
Well, and really make America great again. Like, what about that is even a simple
why not
statement.
Do that?
Like, literally, you just take the words at face value. Yes, but, ask the young man, we know that Trump is not our pastor. It's not, there's so much.
Well, and pastors like this, I just kind of feel like this is part of what's wrong with the country right now. It's sort of how we got here. Yeah. It's like, oh, we don't do that. We don't talk about there. We're never going to. Well, these are real issues, and we should be able to have conversations and listen to each other. And that's why I like so much about those live action videos, is that you're seeing people who they're willing. You have to be willing. They're willing to engage and maybe hear a point of view that they didn't like before. And you can see them change their mind when they see, oh, wow, right? Pictures don't lie. And so, if your son, I would also say too, if we're going to wear the MAGA shirt, you better be able to defend the MAGA position, right? So, and the position is that, we love the country and we want to see fairness and law and order and all those things. That's another thing. I love watching Charlie Kirk challenge people who are just like, and I love that he's willing to have the conversation. Someone said to me the other day, my queen is Kamala. And he goes, okay, great. That's your queen. Why? Tell me why. Yeah. What's her position that you are like so in favor of? And it turned out the guy didn't have a position. She was just the anti-Trump candidate. Well, that's not a position. Yeah. And so we're teaching our kids, and you're teaching your son, your 11-year-old son, to engage in these conversations. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think too that to the person who probably complained to the elder, I would say, like, why are you spending so much energy on the shirt that somebody else is, the hat that the young man is wearing? Come on. Are you also the person who's complaining about the fog machine or the new worship song that we're having or the young homeless person who comes in with tattoos? Yeah. Do you know? I mean, I think that's, I would say the heart of the adult needs to be, let's teach our kids to, talk about truth. Totally. And I think it's okay to engage in politics. And then I think, so I think there are several facets to the conversation. But
check your heart. I think that the first thing to do is to check your heart. Yeah. And like I said, I agree with Melissa. I don't think your son's heart was wrong at all. And he's proud of it. Right. He's like,
and if he wore a Bush shirt, nobody would care.
No, I mean, I had a big old Ronald Reagan button. I think I still have it. My granddad gave it to me. I was probably around 11. Yeah. I wore that thing everywhere. And my grandpa was just, we were proud of our candidate, wanted to support him, and that's all right. You wouldn't, if you wear an Oregon State shirt to a church where somebody really likes the Beavers, well, or University of Oregon, where they really like, Oregon State, and somebody's upset, well, we probably got to stop that at some point.
I mean, who are we to determine what somebody else wears to church?
Right, exactly. Okay, well, this was did you hear me? Listen, I don't know if you were gone. You might have been gone when this happened too, but a well-known influencer said that he thinks that we should start instituting. Did I talk to you about this? A dress code at church. No. And I like this guy. He's a friend of mine, but he was just like, if they can have dress codes at golf clubs, then we should have them at church. And if a woman comes to church and her cleavage is showing, or she comes to church, and she's not being modest, then we should reject her at the door. And I was like, oh, no, no, no. That is not the heart of the Lord Jesus at all. Yeah. In fact, the opposite was true of the Lord. And so I think it goes back to this weird idea about what our churches are even there for. A church is not there to be a safe space for people. Right. You're there to live in community. You're there to talk about the gospel. your First Amendment
Be the hands
rights,
and feet of Jesus.
Yes, your First Amendment rights don't get chucked at the door either. So, anyway, I think these conversations are good. Sarah, I love the question. And it sounds like you're bringing up a young man who loves the country and at 11 years old is cognizant that freedom's worth fighting for. So good on you, Sarah. Sounds like you're doing a good job. Well, listen, this was a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Is there anything we were going to say that we didn't?
You were going to talk about the Win Washington event.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. That's why she's here. So tonight, Win Washington, the 21st. What time does that start? 6 o'clock, I think, at Firmly Planted Family. If you are anywhere in the Portland metropolitan, Vancouver, Washington area, particularly if you live within Southwest Washington's 3rd Congressional District, or you want to meet who I hope will be the next governor of the state of Washington, Dave Reichert is going to be here tonight. You're going to hear for just a couple of minutes from the candidates. They're going to have tables where they're going to be standing out there meeting people. You can get your picture taken with people. Joe Kent's going to be here, Jamie Herrera Butler, some of my old political adversaries. We are joining together, linking arms to win back Washington for sanity, for common sense, for lower taxes, for an improved quality of life for Washingtonians, so that my kids can start buying houses again. And we've got a real shot at winning this election. So I hope you guys will come out tonight. Bring someone who's sitting on the fence. We're trying to get out of our echo chambers.
Yep.
So I wouldn't make this an evening where we all agree and we're going to go. Yes, come. But try to bring someone who's sitting on the fence, who hasn't engaged in politics. Let them hear the policy positions of the men and women who are running for office, so we can make good choices. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We expect a lot of people.
Yes.
So come on out and let's engage in the political process. Again, that's tonight, the 21st, Monday, the 21st. We're just a few weeks away from the election. And don't forget to be praying with me Monday through Friday, every day on Zoom. If you guys want to do that,
go to HeidiSt.John.com and subscribe.
There you go. Thank you guys so much for listening. Melissa, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for walking next door and coming on the show.
That was a long walk. Rough weather.
That was a long walk, I'll tell you what. We love you guys. We'd love to come in and speak at an event near you. And also check out the busymom.com/oils if you're interested in finding out more about our little oily family. We'd love to have you join us there too. We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening today. And I will see you back here again at the intersection of faith and culture.